Wait for Lebe to give you a form check. Doing this is asking for injury. These are a couple of comments that I've spotted on Fitness FAQs video about these are the kettlebell exercises that you should learn. Is it really that bad? Let me give you my feedback. But before we get started, we help busy over 40s get in shape with only 30 minutes of kettlebell training per week in the next 6 weeks. If you want to find out more about our method, check the first link in the description and download our free ebook called The Kettlebell Code. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe hier. Let's jump right into Fitness FAQs video about 10 exercises that you must learn with the kettlebell.
With something called halo. Now to do this, what we'll do is hold the kettlebell like so.
The halo is completely overrated. It's been popular for quite some time, but I never do it. Why? A solid kettlebell press will do the job. So I argue if you press correctly, and you will do lots of pressing when you're training with kettlebells, you will do lots for your shoulder mobility.
Which means the next movement, goblet squat, right? If we come up, very simple. You can hold it a number of ways you want to. But the idea with the goblet squat is going to be keeping the weights in front of us, just squatting down, hold it for a second, and then boom, driving up.
The goblet squat is a full body powerhouse. For beginners though, I'd recommend a bodyweight squat first. And second, squat depth is not directly correlated with the exercise, but rather with your hip structure. If you have a Slavic hip like I have, lots of mobility, you can go deep immediately. If you have a Celtic hip, not a lot of stability, but more strength transfer, then you're probably locked halfway through.
Third and last version of the squat, Cossack Squat. Okay, we're all on the same page, feet are fairly wide. We're gonna boom, come into one side and then bang out of there. That's the Cossack Squat.
Do the side-to-side squat as a warm-up, as I was taught by a weightlifting scientist that it's one of the best exercises prior to exercise. However, I never do it loaded and I never do it for reps. For strengthening your legs, the best exercise that you can do if you're just getting started with the kettlebell is a bodyweight squat, just like I mentioned before.
Number 3, now we're going to look at something known as the windmill, something that looks really scary.
Ah yes, the windmill, the typical marketing exercise for kettlebells. It's so hard to do, that's why you can sell it very easily to somebody who has never picked up a kettlebell before. Granted, it is fun and it is fancy, but if you're just getting started and you want to get into rotation, you might want to do some suitcase walks first. Afterwards, if you still want to do the windmill, practice the low windmill first.
So, remember, the big thing with kettlebell, especially when it starts to kind of, we call this a rack position, is making sure your wrist is safe. So again, make sure, perfect, there it is.
If you don't grab the kettlebell properly, this exercise will never feel comfortable. Pressing, cleaning, so on and so forth will not feel conducive to the way the kettlebell is built. And this is what I'm talking about. Jump deep into the kettlebell window so that your forearm bone connects with the lower horn. This is a proper hand insertion. If you grab it like this, you grab it like a dumbbell.
Also kind of goes through the legs, so we do need them to have a little bit wider, but it's not crazy wide. Blade of the hands, then I want you to just push your blade of your hands back, and I want you to trap the hands. This is your basic
the typical RKC strong first hard style tradition. I've heard that if you don't do this blade move before you jump into the ballistics like the swing, clean and snatch, you're ousted from the club. Let me show you an even better way to practice the hinge. Grab a stick, connect it with your hip, your upper back and the back of your skull. Now push back, reach that bottom position, and as you reach that position, make sure you don't lose contact with any of these points. Second, the prison hinge will help you get a feeling how to lock your spine. So grab both of your hands like this, bring them behind your head. Now push your head inside your hands. You feel that tension, and now we hinge again. And this exercise works like magic.
Just drop that bell to the side a little bit up, keep it on the ground. There we go, lean. That way you can focus on keeping the lats to the pockets. Now you can feel the shoulders packed. Now in one movement, you're gonna bring it between your legs and stand tall. Boom, pull and up. Boom. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Keeping the lats tight is important, but only in the backswing phase of the lift because you don't want the kettlebell to drop too low. So as you reach this position, this is why you keep the lats tight. But as you reach the top position, you keep your arms loose.
2, Turkish get up. Now, I'm not sure if it's actually from Turkey, but we're going to be effectively getting up from the ground up, then reversing it down. But the simplest way to learn this is through something we call half get up.
No, the get up is not from Turkey. The origins of the exercise is the circus. That's why I call it the circus get up. Like the windmill, it's a fancy and fun way to mix things up. But in terms of functionality and effort to benefit ratio, it stands no chance against a swing, a squat, a press, or a farmer's carry.
All right, so now let's look at some pressing movements. Starting with the basic, okay, McDaddy of all presses, pretty straightforward. Okay, we have a nice strong rack position.
Again, we see the hand insertion mistake. The trouble always arises if you don't start properly, and then you don't finish properly. The second mistake that I see is that the elbows are out here. You always want to keep the elbow close to the body, like in boxing. Always protect yourself. And a better way to get started is a double-handed press, where you sling the bell up, hold it in the thumb grip, press the bell overhead, and rack it back down. This is how you can learn how to keep your elbow close to the body and fully extend the arms overhead.
Press that baby up, boom. Pause. Now, you can see the palms facing forward. Just turn the thumbs back. Again, that means that shoulder is slightly.
If you want stability, the kettlebell has to rest on your frame and not on your muscles. In order to achieve this, we need a little bit of external rotation, but we also have to have a solid hand insertion. And this works for the press, for the windmill, and all these exercises where you reach the top fixation. And this is the beautiful thing about kettlebells. This allows you to work for an indefinite amount of time, for continuous motion. Hence, I started calling kettlebell training weighted locomotion. The arm bar as well as the shin box are not typical kettlebell exercises the way I would do it. I don't even think you have to load them. You can use these two exercises to add some great mobility work for your warm-up, but when it comes to loading it and using the USP of kettlebells, cleans, snatch, press, swing, this is where the magic is.
You're gonna just hold the underside of the boom. That way you can be, reaching, and then that gives you the intention to reach a little bit further. Beautiful, look at that.
This part of the video is one of the reasons why I love doing these reactions. I never thought about grabbing the kettlebell the way Vic was doing. Awesome, great, I enjoy it, and I've learned something. And as I was watching the video, I thought about using a second kettlebell, doing the same thing, keeping the kettlebell in a suitcase position, adding a little bit of rotation to it, and here we go. You never stop learning. Yes, the row, one of the best grinds of the kettlebell movements that beginners can do immediately. Lots of people have trouble in the weakest link in the chain, which is the lower back, in the hinge position as they're rowing the weights up. So a bent over row where you can stabilize one arm and you can shift your whole body weights towards that anchor can help you unload your lower back. Finally, let me say this. You can train with the kettlebell however you want. The reason I do these form policing videos is to help you get started. So first, learn form, then practice form, then master form, then teach form, and then invent form. Here's the next thing that you have to do. Clean and press that like and subscribe button. Share with a friend who's also interested in kettlebells. And if you made it this far, download a free ebook called The Kettlebell Code. If you're over 40, 50, or 60, you don't have a lot of time, but you still want to take care of your fitness. That's probably the reason why you stumbled over kettlebells. They're so time efficient and they give you lots of bang for your buck. So download my free ebook called The Kettlebell Code right now on the first link in the description and let me help you get started.